Welcome to On the Rise podcast. I'm Matt Ricker, here today with Grace Ferri, class of 2009, and part of the Alumni Board of Directors. Grace, thank you so much for joining us today.
Certainly my honor and my pleasure.
So how does it feel to be back on campus right here?
I have to say it's very humbling. It's very gratifying to be back on campus. When I look around, Iona has never looked so good. It looks vastly different when I used to walk around the campus, and the investments that they made in aesthetics, but just in the programming, what La Penta looks like, and the business school. It's an impressive place to be.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about your Iona education. How would you characterize it, and what was your experience, and where did it ultimately lead you?
So I came to Iona as a returning adult student. I had started once I graduated high school, I did a small stint in a small business school, and I knew that it wasn't for me. So I came back to Iona and was really interested in how a hospital operated. I was working in Calvary Hospital in the Bronx at the time, and I decided to be a healthcare administration major, really understanding what made an organization like that tick. And it resonated with me, and I was able to take that skill set and really translate it into being not only in a hospital, but in a long-term care facility. I had wonderful professors. I always felt, for lack of a better term, embraced here, protected here. I felt like I had professors that, even if I was struggling in a class, were able to have me rise to the top and make me understand why I was struggling in an area, and they gave me the support system to succeed.
That's great. Yeah, I mean, I'm a two-time alum here, mm-hmm. and I always like to say that here at Iona, you're an actual face and not a number. You may not get the same attention as you would at a larger university. Mm-hmm. So that's a big thing that stands out about Iona to me. So tell us a little bit about your career in healthcare administration, how you ended up at United Hebrew, and how you decided your career path.
So I worked, my very first job was at Calvary Hospital in the Bronx, working in administration and really understanding every facet of the hospital. But I always had an affinity for special events. So I was always the person who was orchestrating special events throughout the hospital, and fundraising really is a natural extension of special events. And I wound up working in the fundraising department, working on annual giving, assisting with the golf tournament and the gala, and then I had an opportunity to work and apply for a position as Director of Development at United Hebrew of Rochelle, which is a campus of senior services, and really was the springboard for my career. United Hebrew is a phenomenal campus of senior services that provides skilled nursing and rehabilitation and assisted living, and to be the person to kind of be an ambassador to let the community know about these services, for me I was over the moon about that, and I was really able to spread my wings and really reach out, not only on a fundraising standpoint, but in a marketing way, producing brochures and being able to speak with families and residents and really tell the story of what makes this place so great.
That's great. So, in your experience, what are some common misconceptions people have about career advancement, and how can they overcome them?
I think when you graduate from college, you have this major, and you kind of put yourself in a box, because you think, well, I'm a marketing major and I have to get a job in marketing, or I have a communications major, and you put yourself in a box. And I think that when you have a broad set skills, it really could lend itself for many different things. I may be a healthcare administration major. I'm not a marketing major. However, the skill set that I had and that I was taught at Iona, because it also had nuances of communication, it had nuances about how to speak to people, really lent itself for me to kind of grow. I didn't think if I turned back time and I had to reflect back, I wouldn't think I would be a chief marketing officer today. I thought I would be in operations. So I think people need to look broadly. And I think when you graduate from college, you automatically assume that you're going into this executive role, but you need to get your feet wet. And I think that you have to grow a little humility and start at an entry level position and learn and be hungry and absorb as much as you can, because that next job might be your dream job.
Yeah, and that all goes back to the importance of getting an internship, getting mentors in college.
Yes.
So all very important. So let's talk next about the it factor. You've served in many leadership roles throughout your career with plenty of opportunities to lead teams of people. Have you noticed over time a particular it factor that you think helps people stand out in the workplace or get ahead in their careers?
I do. I think that being kind and being likable is so underrated. People want to be with others that exude positivity and don't want to be with naysayers and want to be part of the success story.
Yeah.
And I think if you can shine, you could shine by being positive and likable. That will get you so far. People want to be with others that are that look at the brighter side of things, not on the darker side.
Right. So let's shift to your role in healthcare administration. So since you work for an assisted living place, how has your career changed once COVID hit? We're 5 years. We have it's been 5 years since COVID-19, since the pandemic began. What have you had to adjust in the past few years?
So many things. It was a really tumultuous, honestly dark time in healthcare for the people who were giving hands-on care, the nurses, the aides, the physicians, but even for the rest of the staff. In assisted living, you had people who were locked in their not locked, but were in their apartments, and they really couldn't commingle. So they came to this facility not to be socially isolated, yet they were isolated in their rooms. So it was the responsibility of the organization to make sure that they were engaged. We would have perform hallway. We had everyone opening their doors because there wasn't that human touch.
Yeah.
We all need a reason to get up in the morning and have sense of purpose, and especially as seniors. So it was our responsibility to make sure that their lives were full and they were cognitively stimulated and not just sitting watching TV all day. So we really had to reconfigure, how do we connect with people who can't touch and be with other people in group activities.
Yeah, no, I mean, as a family member who had a relative in an assisted living place, as I told you, my grandmother was in there, and I mean, it was later in the pandemic, so it wasn't that restricting, but I always have a special appreciation for all of our frontline workers. So on
They are the unsung heroes. It's not an
Yes.
easy job. It's certainly a calling.
Yes.
Not easy.
Yeah, so I thank you for that. So what role does networking play in career advancement, and do you have any tips for effective networking? You know, as we were talking about it off air, it can be very intimidating. So what strategies do you have?
It can be intimidating. You know, today I feel very comfortable in talking to people, but when I was in my 20s, maybe not so much. I think if you have the opportunity to go to an event, even if it's out, you know, push yourself outside of your comfort zone. I think you'd be surprised. Most people feel the same way that you do. And if you ask people questions, people love to talk about themselves. And so if you could be a great listener and just start off a conversation and being pleasant and smiling, I think people will gravitate to you, and networking will be easier. You never know who you are going to meet, and I think that a lot of times people will say, oh, I'm going to pass on that event. It's really not exactly what I'm looking for. You never know who you are going to meet. Sometimes some of life is not what you know, but who you know. And if you can have the opportunity to meet people from different walks of life, it's more tools in your tool belt.
So what role has mentorship played in career development, and how have you sought out mentors throughout your career?
I think mentors are invaluable. I didn't have so many mentors in my career. I was very fortunate, to learn from people at Calvary Hospital, and certainly my leader today, Rita Mabley, who is also an alum of Iona University. They really had generosity of spirit in wanting to pay forward the experience that they had. I'm part of the mentorship program here at Iona. I really love being part of it. I want to be the girl who I needed when I was in my 20s, because I didn't have, I'm a first generation Italian American. I had immigrant parents, and so I didn't have the opportunity to really learn that from my parents. They were blue collar workers and really afforded my sisters and I everything that we needed as far as strong work ethic. But as far as how to pursue life and career, we had to, learn as we went along.
Yeah, that's great. And now, speaking of mentors and mentorship, you've been a part of Gales Go Further now for the past couple of years.
Yes.
What do you love most about it?
I greatly enjoy speaking with my mentees to see if I could be a resource, and I love the opportunity to kind of do role play with them, to make them feel a little more comfortable having a conversation or going through the interview process. That could be so intimidating.
Yeah.
And practice makes perfect, and then the more you do it, the better you are at it. And if you have that comfortability in selling yourself to someone, that's really key. So I really enjoy being that person to really sit one-on-one with a student to make sure that they could be successful when they go for a job.
And that's great, and we sincerely appreciate your time that you've given to.
I'm really so honored to be
yeah.
quite frank with you. I think it's so flattering, and it's really, I'm a big believer in paying it forward. If I have something to give to someone else that I have, it's something that I revel in. But thank you.
Yeah, and so you have you're very involved here at Iona. Aside from the Gales Go Further program, you're also on the advisory board for that. But you're also on the alumni board of directors.
Yes.
What has that experience been like?
It's been great to learn from a multifaceted generation of Iona alumni. So there are people who are far younger than I am, and there are alumni who have been on this board for many, many years and really generational. I found it really interesting that some of the alumni are third generation Ionians. So great just to make friends and an opportunity for me to network.
Yeah. So looking back, is there any advice you wish you had received earlier in your career that you would like to pass along to others for career success?
I think the best advice that I can give is to not be so nervous and intimidated by other people. I think that we all have our place at the table, and to be yourself, to be kind, and to not worry so much about what other people think about you.
And lastly, let's end with some content recommendations. Have there been any particular books, podcasts, or other content that you found helpful throughout your career that you'd recommend to our listeners?
There's a recent book that I just read called Succession. And it's really about communication, how to hone your skills in speaking to someone, and what are the words that you're using to attract people, to really forge more solid relationships. Half of life and half of career is about building relationships. You want to be authentic. You want to be, you don't want to be disingenuous, and you want to be someone who has credibility. So if you find the right words and the right people, I think that would be, that's the greatest thing that I've learned. And this latest book that I've read has been really the icing on the cake for that.
That's great. Any other comments or suggestions that you'd like to add?
I just wanted to say thank you. I have tremendous gratitude today, and I'm glad to be part of something. And I hope that whoever's listening today really got something out of our conversation, Matt.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Grace, again for
pleasure.
coming on to On the Rise podcast. Thank you all for listening, and we'll see you next time.